I think you're going to enjoy this little strategy I have for you today. This is your buddy here, Roberto Monaco with InfluenceOlogy. Now, question, have you ever been in a situation where you're presenting in front of one person, maybe in front of 10 people, and then you knew in your heart that they need your product or service. You knew in your heart you could help them, but they didn't take action. Yes. About the opposite, right? Have you ever been in a situation where you have a professional salesperson in front of you, or you're participating in this event and you have a speaker and an audience, and the reason you're there is because you know you have a challenge in that specific area, you know they have a solution, but for some reason you don't take action? Yes? We all do it. But what's the problem? What's causing that? Now, there's several reasons. Several. Now, I want to share just one thing that I've seen over and over and over and over. And here's the challenge. Most presenters or professional sales people, they deliver their information, their content, their ideas, their solutions without creating the need for it. So write this down. Before you present the information, create the need for it. One more time. Before you present the information, create the what? The need for it. Let me give an example here. Another one. The other day, I had this gentleman who hired us to do public speaking presentation review. So basically, they record an hour talk, upload it on YouTube, send a video. So now I'm taking notes, right, to give him some feedback. And the talk was called The 7 Secrets to Build a Successful Business. Now, what I noticed is that the presenter specifically, as he was going through secret number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, he wasn't building up the need for every secret or idea or strategy. Follow me? So even though the information was super powerful, didn't create the impact that he wanted to because he wasn't create the need for the information before he presented. And what happens? Well, by the time he offered his next step, his product, his conversions were very, very, very small. So remember this one more time here. I want to be repetitive. Before you present information, what you do? You create the what? The need for it. Roberto, how do I do that? Now, first step, you got to have empathy. You got to respect the audience. I always present my information from my audience's viewpoint, from their perspective. Super powerful. So we have my information, my ideas, but I present as if I'm them. So I see how they see my information. Number 2, you can create this need so many different ways. By asking a question, by telling a story, by creating a self-persuasion exercise. So instead of telling they have a problem, you allow them to figure out, hey, I do have a problem, by doing a demonstration. So there's many, many different ways to create this need for it. And then once you have empathy with the need, then obviously you talk about your information, your solution, your product, and you solve that need. Very simple. Now, let me share how I do it, how we do it at InfluenceOlogy. Now, in my career, I'm sure you know, I've done over 3,500 live presentations. I have 11,000 hours of presentation, public speaking, coaching. Roberto, why are you saying that? I'm saying that because I notice a pattern. Regardless if you are a CEO, an executive, a business owner, chiropractor, a dentist, a lawyer, financial planner, you are an accountant, an engineer, a scientist. We work with over 30 industries. Here's what happens. It comes down to 5 challenges primarily. That's it. Right? I call the 5 pillars. The first pillar I call the psychology pillar, which allows people to overcome the fear, uncertainty, doubt, anxiety, and speak with confidence. The structure pillar allows people to eliminate rambling and spending too much time, develop a presentation so that they can create a presentation super fast. Then you have the delivery pillar, which allows people to deliver a message with charisma, impact, and influence. Then you have the influence pillar for the advanced students who wants to maximize their talk. And then the last pillar is marketing, which allows people to get their message in front of more people. Now, why am I saying that? I'm saying that because instead of, if I'm doing a presentation about InfluenceOlogy, I don't just say, hey, I have 5 pillars here. I don't do that. What I do before I introduce the pillar number 1, for example, my example here, psychology, I build up the need for it. right? I can tell a story about a client who was afraid. I can ask questions. People, hey, have you ever been in a situation where you could speak in front of 1,000 people, but you didn't because you're afraid? And as I'm building up the need here, I'm getting commitment for the audience that goes, yeah, I've been there. Yeah, I know someone like that. Yeah, I experienced this challenge before. Then I talk about the challenge, then I talk about the solution, then I move to the second pillar. For example, here is structure. I say, have you ever been in a situation where you had to develop a presentation and the first thing you did, you open up a computer, boom, PowerPoint. People say, yeah. And they know that's the worst thing they can do, right? Or have you ever been in a situation you spend hours and hours and hours develop a presentation, and by the time you deliver it was not good? People are like, yeah. You see, before I talk about my solution, what I'm doing, guys, I'm creating the need for it. So just to recap the video here today is very simple. I think it's the 4th time I mentioned this to you today. Repetition, right? Repetition, repetition, repetition. Repetition is persuasive, by the way. So before you present information, what you do? You create the what? The need for it. Before you present information, create the need for it. For more information on how we can help you, just go to www.influencingfromthefront. One more time, www.influencingfromthefront.com. And if you're watching this video on YouTube, please subscribe to our channel so that the next time, the next video that we have for you, you don't miss it. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye. One more time. Yeah. One more time. Before you present the information, you create the need for it. Before you present information, create the need for it. Yeah. Hey, subscribe.